I'm with,
Carmelo Mason at AB Boxing News.
and here we are again, Thursday night, 8 to 9 p.m. Barca Hoops Radio presents AB Boxing News Podcast Show. So, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, Barca Hoops Radio. Today we have also the Nose Hunter, Dez.
The urban legend, the Nose Hunter, Mr. Two-Piece.
Mr. Two-Piece, Nose Hunter, he joins us today. We appreciate that. I'm also with my boy Mello, and we'd like to thank Mr. Steele, Barca Hoops Radio, of course, for having us. And another big week of boxing.
Sheesh.
Big week, Fox Sports, PBC pay-per-view. We have Errol Spence, a.k.a. The Truth, versus Danny Garcia, a.k.a. Swift. And it's pay-per-view, guys, you know. Everybody wants the big fights. This is the welterweight showdown of the year.
Errol Spence, definitely a beast. You know, a lot of people questioning how he's going to be when he comes, back from the accident. He could have took a tune-up fight. He took a nice fight against Danny Garcia.
Right.
I mean, he's really got something to prove. He really wants to prove that he's the king of the welterweight division.
Definitely. So we got a great showdown. Nose Hunter, what do you think about this fight Saturday night
With,
Spence and Garcia?
I'm honestly, it's too much of the same thing. You know, both of those guys are like great counter punchers. They, they're not the best movers. Errol Spence tries to move. Danny Garcia might try to move, but don't be surprised if Danny Garcia pulls it off because of the experience and the high level of competition that he faces.
Okay.
I do feel Errol Spence will try to go to the body, but Danny Garcia is one of the masters of counterpunching, even though he has a no-look left hook. But it works.
It works.
Right. I mean, the real question is, are people counting out Danny Garcia too much for this fight?
You have to understand this about casual boxing fans.
Right.
When a fighter takes a loss against a high-level opponent, like a Keith Thurman, or, a Sean Porter.
Very close fight.
Very close fight. It's not like he got wobbled. He had his rounds. Do I feel Lamont Peterson beat him? Yes. I mean, was Lamont Peterson being cute and probably swayed the judges? Yes. But, Danny Garcia dominated 140. He beat the likes of Amir Khan. I think people should respect him a little bit more. I'm not a fan of Danny Garcia. I just don't like his style. I'm more of a guys that I like Terrence Crawford, guys that move, a little bit more versatile.
Slick fighters.
So more of a technical. You lean a little more towards technical fighters.
Danny's technical, but I like guys that have a little bit more athleticism. Danny Garcia is a technician. Like he's very good at counterpunching. I do feel that they're counting him out. I don't know why, but in the world of boxing, unlike MMA, is that when a guy takes a loss, he automatically becomes a bum, even though he might even had a long title reign, unified 140.
Right.
And for guys even like Matisse.
Right.
Yeah, they worry too much about the O. Sometimes you got fighters that have padded careers and they have an O, and it's the opposite. They don't have a legacy.
Definitely. I think a guy like Danny, to me, when he was fighting at 140, he truly fought the best opponents compared to a guy like Terrence Crawford, in my opinion.
We can't say that though about Terrence Crawford.
I think Terrence Crawford is pound for pound, but when we recap 140, Danny went to the fire. He fought Matisse. He was 3-1 underdog as the champion. That was crazy disrespect.
But you understand this too. It's about promoters though, because Victor Postal was supposed to be a killer, and Crawford played with him.
Oh yeah.
He fought Molina. Remember, Crawford came in 147, fought Molina, walked through him. Odongo, he walked through him. He walked through.
But if we go back and forth, who did Odongo really fight to be considered this high champion? Let's say.
I understand that,
it's
but
questionable.
we can. I say a guy like Matisse had a half and half resume. Well,
the hype was real on Matisse, I say that.
Well, because you understand, you got a whole country backing him.
That's true.
And we're looking for the next Maidana. That's what people saw. So Maidana to me was holding up with Argentina.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's holding up Argentina. Matisse's from Argentina. So that whole base is like, well, we have a guy that hits hard too. So Maidana, we have to say, held Argentina on his back and a few other fighters in the past. So yeah, but then you got a hype behind them.
Well, Saturday night, Danny's going to have Puerto Rico on his back.
Exactly.
So, as far as, Puerto Rico and the big-time fighters, Danny, would you, Mello and Nose Hunter, would you still consider Danny Garcia, if he gets this W, he's the face of Puerto Rico as far as boxing?
As of now, yeah. Yeah, he's done a lot in boxing still, even with the 2 losses. I think there's small blemishes.
He proceeded Miguel Cotto for Puerto Rico. He never left. That's what I'm saying. Like Danny Garcia, like you know why people don't say Puerto Rico? Like they're giving him the De La Hoya treatment. Like with Mexican, like Puerto Rico and Mexico are two different countries, of course.
Right.
But for instance, how De La Hoya was a Mexican fighter, Mexican American fighter, and they said, well, no, he's too Americanized. He's really a California guy. They treated him like that. They treated him like like more of American. And they said, okay, well, Danny too. Oh, he represents Philly. We're going to put him as a Philly fighter. We're not going to put him as a Puerto Rican fighter. But the man has always repped his flag.
True.
He never always came out with the flag.
I mean, he went to Puerto Rico and beat Herrera, so I mean,
that was a question mark. But,
right? It wasn't okay. It was a question mark, but listen, in
boxing,
boxing, we get a lot of question marks. Sometimes the judges, sometimes they, what they see and what we see is very different.
Oh, that's not his fault. That's that's up to the judges. He goes out there to do his job. Danny doesn't have really a big personality. His father kind of carries him. It's just like almost like pro wrestling where his father's like his manager and he goes speaks for him.
Okay, I think Danny's a people person. I would say though.
Oh, he's a great person. It's just, and I'm not talking about him personally, but as of selling a fight, how Crawford is,
his dad
they're not really
fight more than he does.
Exactly.
You're right with that.
They're not talking.
Well, that's good marketing, I would say.
I love when I'm a Keith Thurman fan, but I knew it was a great marketing between Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia because Keith Thurman's a big talker and his father is a big talker.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We don't want to mention it.
I was at that press conference.
Maybe that's Garcia's play. Maybe that's his play. He just he lets his hands talk and lets his dad talk for him. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna just handle my business in the ring.
Just like Crawford, and I would love to see them because those two for an amateur. So we don't know if he does really well. Maybe he can get a Crawford fight.
Yeah, that would be
definitely. So this Saturday we got Spence versus Garcia. Spence is defending his IBF and his WBC belt. So Danny pulls off the W. Are people going to give him the credit? Because a lot of people are saying, he was in an accident. And Spence says he's good, though. This week?
Last I heard, the odds were 4-1 in Spence's favor. Last I heard. I think that's a little harsh on Danny. But Danny likes to be the underdog. He likes to, that he really feeds off that underdog status.
I'm going to put it like this. If Danny Garcia knocks out Errol Spence, it's going to turn the boxing world upside down. It's going to throw Danny back in that conversation many years ago when Floyd Mayweather was around 2013, around 2012, and they thought that Danny Garcia was going to be the face of boxing after Floyd Mayweather at 147. There was coming up to 147 because he was dominating 140, and they wanted to see that matchup. I do feel with Danny, Errol Spence. Now, if he's the first one to knock out Danny Garcia, that will skyrocket. Now we're going to talk about who's the real A side now, Spence or Crawford, because now we're starting to see Crawford fight over Spence's leftovers. So, and that's where a lot of times the fans and many critics in boxing are bad. But I will give guys like Crawford credit because it's like I just came up from a lower weight class.
Right.
You can't fault me for fighting guys that you guys fought when I was at 140.
That is true. You make a good point.
He got to go into the division.
Plus we have to see what happens with Crawford and his contract that ends October 2021.
I know what he want to do. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to say it's more money. He might take the same amount of money. He might take a little bit less. But the exposure and the right type of setups that he's going to get to become a bigger pay-per-view star is going to be great because he's going to have way better matchups with PBC. Sean Porter. He's going to get all those guys at 147. Everybody.
Thurman, Porter,
Danny. Pacquiao.
Even Manny.
So now Manny, right?
Right.
So 147 is hot.
With Bob Arum, we don't know what he's got up to his sleeves. I do feel like Bob Arum's stable of fighters in the middleweight classes and the lower weight classes is shrinking. Lomachenko's out surgery. He's got Teofimo Lopez, but they can't ride on him. He's at 135. So who do they have at 147? Nobody really. Nobody really at 154.
Terrence Crawford.
Al Heyman is a genius. He took all the guys from 147 to 160.
Well, true, but Top Rank is more known for either the lower weight, let's be honest, the lower division or the 175 division.
Yeah, but who's really, I'm a light heavyweight, by the way. And it's like, who's really at 175 in America? That's really what, and I'm a fan of Marcus Brown. I love Marcus Brown. That's one of my favorite. You got Marcus Brown.
You got Joe Smith. I mean, we're still solid guys.
Who can talk and
Benavidez is around there.
Who can talk and sell a fight besides Anthony Yard? Who can sell a fight better than Anthony Yard?
Well, speaking of Anthony Yard, he's actually fighting tomorrow.
Oh, I love
Saturday.
that fight. Shout out to Anthony Yard, by the way. I do feel like he's going to probably hold up 175 because his personality and his knockout power.
Well, I definitely agree with you, and I like to say B2 Sports has definitely, they're on the rise. Speaking of that, we're going to rewind before we talk more about Spencer Garcia.
We had the Gabe Rosado fight with Danny Jacobs too.
Right, so let's recap. Let's go into last weekend. Friday, the Zone Matchroom Boxing, the Miracle Man Daniel Jacobs versus Philly's rugged Gabriel Rosado.
There was a lot of bad blood there for a while, calling each other out, and they finally got
Years
the
in
fight.
the making.
Years in the making, calling each other out, screaming for the fight here and there, face to face a lot. I feel like that fight did not live up to the hype as much as I wanted it to.
It definitely didn't, but it was a tough way to score it. A lot of people, through social media, through the internet, they said they thought Rosado pulled it off. How'd you see it, Melo?
When they said from Philly, and then they switched
Right.
it, I wasn't even mad with it. Then I got confused.
It was an error. Yeah.
I would have took that Gabe Rosado win.
He could appeal it.
He can, but at this, from what I seen online, it looks like Rosado's happy with Freddie Roach, and he's going to continue his career and his path with Freddie Roach. So Rosado looks to fight again.
Well,
Come next year.
Rosado looked good, even though I felt like the punch output for the bad blood and for the Warriors they were in there did not match.
Right.
I thought it was going to be a bloodbath. This was like the first fight Gabe Rosado didn't get cut in, and then
I think he boxed more.
he boxed well. He moved well. He didn't get cut. And I thought that was good for him. So if he stays with Freddie Roach, maybe Freddie Roach is teaching him some new tricks, and I think that would be a great decision to go with.
You know what I think too? I wouldn't even say per se Freddie Roach. It's more about it could be many mental aspects with Gabe Rosado.
Right.
I think maybe even getting older. I think maybe making better life choices. I think a lot of people forget as fans, he got older and smarter, but also too he is a technician from Philly. He's not. People think he's a brawler because he got dog in him. But a lot of fighters had dog in him. Look at Andre Ward. I'm not comparing Gabe Rosado to Andre Ward, but he's had dog in him too. But when you see them fight, the little subtle things that Gabe Rosado does. Even when he fought Triple G, he had good moments. Of course, Triple G is a bigger man, but I have to give Gabe Rosado credit. He's like a throwback fighter that has solid fundamentals. So the Danny Jacobs fight, the results don't surprise me because Danny Jacobs is technical. And you're not going to walk through Gabe Rosado easy.
Yeah, maybe Rosado, being older is putting his pride over his. He's putting his brain over his pride. Look at Gaddy. Gaddy used to be, he could box and everything, but when he would hear the roar of the crowd, forget it. He's turning into a warrior.
There was no defense.
But Gabe Rosado is like, you know what? Now I got to box smarter. I can box. I put the pride to the side. And take less damage and ensure a win.
So both of you guys,
yes, sir.
What do you think is next for Rosado? Who would you like to see him matched up next year, 2021, with Freddie Roach, obviously being his trainer? That's the question. It's a good one, actually.
At 168 or 160.
I think 168 is better for Rosado.
He's older. I think his body's more comfortable at 168.
Yeah, I think 168 is a good look for him.
I honestly, they could probably get him. For me, if I'm a matchmaker, I'm not even speaking about someone of rankings. I think if Billy Joe Saunders would be a good fight.
I was just.
I think Billy Joe, great press conference, great speaking.
Right.
It's going to tie in American fans and British fans because Billy Joe Saunders, I'm a fan as well, can talk. He can box. He's slick, just like Gabe Rosado can be slick. I think Gabe Rosado will try to make it a dog fight. He will try to make Billy Joe Saunders sit in the pocket and go fight. And to me, I think he'll get cut because he has that style where he's going to let everything go against Billy Joe.
Okay.
And Billy Joe's going to try to counter him a lot.
Okay. Melo, what do you think? What's next for Rosado? Who would you like to see him matched up against?
I see my boy Coach Julindo. I got to agree with him too. He said he would like to see him with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Yo, that would be good.
Speaking of that, Chavez did fight last weekend,
Yeah.
which many didn't know.
How do you look?
He looked better than the fight before, I tell you that.
That would be a good fight for both.
He dropped it. It was a last-second change of name as far as his opponent, but He dropped him 3 times.
Let me tell you something
Called the
about
fight. Actually, he looked aggressive. At least
I'm gonna say it like this, and and boxing fans, please forgive me. Chavez Jr., man that has had a training camp, probably eating a diet of McDonald's and marijuana. Never,
allegedly.
Never disciplined. Never allegedly. Yes, of course.
Allegedly.
Never's been disciplined. He doesn't fight discipline. He's a guy that's probably about 6'1", but he fights like he's like 5'8". You know, he kind of reminds me of modern day Margarito.
But
without the raps.
Without the raps.
Nose Hunter, let's recap a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. When he fought Jacobs last December, in the first 2 rounds, to me, he didn't look bad. He looked like he cared about fighting. And then, later on, it looked like he quit.
When his nose got tapped, because I'm the nose hunter, all that went out the window, and he wanted to quit because Danny Jacobs is patient. And when Danny Jacobs counters you, just like he counters anybody else of high level, like a Golovkin or someone like that, it's going to hurt. You're not going to see it coming. He even counted Canelo in this fight. And when he counted Canelo, I was like, wow, okay, Danny Jacobs is very, very, very tricky sometimes. So when he got hit, Chavez said, oh, man, this is going to be a hard fight because Jacobs got dogged at him, and I think he knew that the fight was going to get tougher every round, and he wanted out.
Okay. So we talked about Rosado as far as, me, I would say I would like to see Rosado and potentially Bivol.
I mean, Bivol is a small light heavyweight.
Right. So for me personally, I think that's not a bad fight. Or I would like to see a guy like Rosado maybe go to 175 and fight Alvarez. Who lost to Joe Smith.
But Bivol, see the thing about it, he's not on the ranking of Bivol though. So the promoters would be like, well, this is not really a great fight, and it's not for a belt. So
maybe to stay busy fight,
they won't give it to him
because
Bivol doesn't talk, and Gabe Rosado talks, but he would have to carry that whole press conference, everything. It won't be exciting to fans. Do I feel he has the skill to beat a Bivol? I think so. I'm not impressed.
You know what? You what would be bad? Rosado goes up. Him and Joe Smith. I think that'd be a good fight.
He's too little.
You think so?
He's too little. Joe Smith is a big. He's a
he
big
is a
light
big
heavyweight.
one. Yeah, he is a big.
He probably walks around 200 pounds. I'm a light heavyweight. I walk around 200 pounds. Like he's too little.
Okay.
I think Joe Smith is just a hard worker. He's got dog in him, and it's a type of fight that Gabe Rosado cannot let his ego get in the way of. Because if he sits there and tries to trade with Joe Smith, it's going to be it's just going to be a slugfest, and the bigger man might come out on top. And I'm not counting out Gabe Rosado because he is tough, but you can outbox Joe Smith. But the problem is that his pressure is what gets guys. He makes guys crack. It's not that. Look, you can take any guy that's really slick with good footwork and give Joe Smith a hard time. But the problem is that he's going to keep coming at you. He's going to be in shape. He's going to be strong.
Yeah, he's always
get you on the inside.
Definitely.
He might even pick you up.
Yeah, Hopkins is a tricky fighter, and look.
Well, Hopkins' legs was like 52.
Yeah, but still,
right.
He's still he knew he's a veteran. You got to see the tricks.
That's matchup for Rosado. Now let's talk about what's next for Jacobs. A lackluster performance, but Jacobs was talking before this fight. He wants a rematch with Canelo. He wants big names, and supposedly his contract is expired with Matchroom Boxing. So technically, he's a free agent.
But where is he going to go? Like, one thing about it, right? Jacobs, right? Jacobs, remember, like, all 33-year-olds are created differently. He's a warned 33-year-old. He's a 33-year-old that's had a good amateur career. He's had, how many years? He went pro in 06? Danny Jacobs? No, he went pro in 06, I believe, right? 06, 07?
I believe 6.
06. So,
06.
You're talking about almost 20 years with an amateur career through that, and also too, like, he's battled cancer. He's had a lot of, and we also have to talk about wear and tear in the gym. How is his body holding up? I don't feel that he can get a Canelo rematch because that fight was so one-sided. He looked like he didn't want to jab. The jab, I feel like Danny Jacobs needs to improve his jab. He was jabbing from his waist. He didn't get Canelo's respect. To get you have a guy like Canelo, you got to stab him in the chest. You got to stab him. You got to snap his head back. You got to keep your elbows in and don't worry about him going to the body. When he goes, he tries to attempt to the body, and that's easier said than done. But you've got to have your right hand ready and try to back him down with the jab. Floyd Mayweather, being a smaller man, knew that recipe, and he knew that if you make him miss,
he always used that body jab too, though.
Yeah,
slow everybody down.
Slow down Canelo that way. He's very muscular and strong. Slow to the body.
So what would you say for Jacobs? Who would you like to see him next fight?
At 168, I mean,
Triple G.
uh,
Triple G's
give-
coming
give-
back
give him-
up.
give him something where he can
like
look
Triple G
good.
though. See where they both go at.
Let's see, maybe a Rocky Fielding. I think a
Fielding?
Rocky Fielding would be something good at 168. I think something to kind of get him like, just get his feet really warm. You get what I'm saying? Like after this performance, because he can embarrass him. He can work on certain things while he's fighting. A guy like Rocky Fielding, who's just tall and kind of upright at 6'2", 6'3". He's going to come forward. Danny Jacobs can use his footwork. And then he can get the bigger names. Like, okay, I want a Golovkin rematch. It was close. That's pretty much it. I think Rocky Fielding.
So Rocky Fielding for you, Nose Hunter, Mello. Who would you like to see?
I would see the
fight?
rematch with Triple G. I would see that because Triple G is, he needs to come back out again. So
Well, he's fighting December 18th, so he's fighting.
Who's he fighting?
He's fighting his mandatory.
It's mandatory, but a lot of
John
times,
Doe.
yeah, So
I mean,
he needs another name back on it. Why not run it back with Danny Jacobs? And Danny Jacobs needs that. Then if he
But guess what?
But he's got to win that fight, then.
But he got to win that fight.
But guess what? We feel to realize with Golovkin, the man is not going up in weight. He's not going to 168, and I don't know why at 5'10", almost 5'11", being the biggest puncher at 160, that he won't go up there and get that smoke with guys like Caleb Plant.
Nose Hunter. What about Andrade? Boo Boo.
Boo Boo at
Why not that?
At
Jacobs
at 160.
Maybe they could do a catchweight 164.
Oh.
Boo Boo Andrade could do 168. 164 is good, but Boo Boo Andrade too. I feel right now promoter wise, if I was promoter, I would say he's too game.
Or
It's too high risk and low reward.
Or let's say Triple G takes care of his mandatory December 18th on a Friday, the Zone Matchroom Boxing, and he says, you know what? Let me fight Boo Boo next.
The problem with fighting Boo Boo is that any fighter. See, think about it. Look at the fighters that they kept Golovkin away. Lara, legs, technical ability, smart.
Okay.
This man did not want to fight any fighters that had good mobility that was in his weight class, but he would call out Floyd Mayweather, but he wouldn't fight Roger Ward and guys that are technical like that at 164. So they would never be Andrade because it's too high. Like I say again, high risk, low reward.
So Andrade's gonna fight at 168 now. So what about who could he fight at 168? Gabe Rosado.
Plant.
Gabe Rosado. Why not?
Gabe Rosado would be a good.
That's a solid fight.
I wouldn't want to put Gabe Rosado if I was promoting in that position because it's going to make him look like a gatekeeper.
Andrade and Rosado.
It's going to make Gabe Rosado look like a gatekeeper because what they're going to always hold up to Gabe Rosado, which is not fair, is his record, his losses. They're going to always hold that up to him.
But people pay to see Rosado because he's a warrior.
He's a warrior, but they're always going to treat him like a gatekeeper because of his record. They're never going to let the man rest with his losses, which were close losses.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or why not Jacobs, Lemieux?
That would be a great fight because then he can ask for Triple G again in a rematch. And I think, but Jacobs has to really talk this one up, and he has to call out. He has to talk. Jacobs is talking a lot more in the recent years, so he's really selling himself very well.
I'm getting a lot of feedback. Stalinari, Andrade versus Ryder, John Ryder.
That could work.
They're both on the Zone. Why not?
Yeah, the Zone too. That's one of their best fighters. So
Right.
Who else is on the Zone?
Why not? Andrade, John Ryder, 168. Let's go.
Yeah, 168 to me is better than 175. There's not that much talent at 175.
I think there's talent. It's just, if you're looking for big names, maybe not the biggest names, but
you got a few guys.
Guys, let's say.
Yeah, but Batista. You got, you got a few guys.
168 is harder though.
168 is a harder division.
So I'm getting feedback about the Miracle Man Daniel Jacobs.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people are saying Jacobs needs a fight to get up for us. Basically, his lackluster performance last week.
Yeah,
people were disappointed. He needs a fight to wow us again.
Is his age showing? That's the question. We're not talking about a average Joe, 33-year-old. We're talking about a fighter that is accomplished, a champion, long career, hard sparring, hard training. Is this like how we say Andre Ward and those type of fighters? Is this his last hurrah? Okay. Can he pull it off?
Maybe this is last hurrah.
Could it have been just the pandemic too? Because a lot of fighters feed off the roar of the crowd. A lot of fighters, they can't have training camps
True.
the way they want to have training
True,
camps. So
but if you're an elite fighter and you want big fights, a guy like Jacobs,
yeah.
he wants the big names. So for a guy like Jacobs, you want big names, you gotta fight. You gotta take care of business.
We can't even say the pandemic. You know why? Because he's battled bigger things and had bigger layoffs in the pandemic. I do feel, like I said, Father Time could be knocking at Danny Jacobs. I'm not gonna say about Gabe Rosado because they're around the same age. I do feel like, look, we got to let the younger guys come in now. I don't think he can pull it off again. I think with Triple G and with Peter Quillen, that's going to be the best Danny Jacobs we're going to see. And no disrespect to him, but I do feel like I don't think he can pull it out. I think he did his best.
Well, Jacobs wasn't. He didn't have his best performance Friday night. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this. When fighters say, the pandemic, it hit me different. I couldn't train different. Is that an excuse?
I'm gonna tell you about
the
pandemic thing. And I'm not a professional anyway. I'm an amateur still. The thing is, fighters will find any way to make an excuse about a lot of things. They talk about the pandemic, but you have fighters that gain 40, 50 pounds after a fight. Is that the pandemic? Or maybe it's Sbarro. Maybe it's Pizza Hut. Maybe it's eating like you're going to death row.
What about a guy like Badu Jack? He fought last Saturday and he looked sharp.
I like Badu Jack.
And he's 37.
He's been on the bad side of a bunch of draws.
Right, too many draws, too many questionable draws.
He's the reason why he's behind those draws. To me, I'm not impressed with Badu Jack. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Badu Jack.
He hurt Stevenson.
Oh, what about this? I'm getting.
What Stevenson?
Guys, what about this? I'm getting feedback. Why not Benavidez, Badu Jack?
Oh,
that's very interesting.
It's a good thing with Benavidez. He can make 175 easy. He's a big 168. Yeah. That man is a light heavyweight. But the thing about it is that, I'm going to say about Badu Jack, the guy that he fought, the Army dude with the nervous twitch, that to me, Badu Jack wasn't even at his fight weight for that fight. That fight was a catch weight at like 185 pounds. Badu Jack was, you could tell that Badu Jack, it wasn't really a strict, hard training camp. He makes a guy. You can put a guy in front of like Badu Jack, and he can look like anything because the level of opponent that he fought. Give him a guy that's really technical, like a Marcus Brown again. You saw him with Marcus Brown.
Well, Marcus Brown and Pascal, they're supposedly going to run it back, but Pascal wants a crowd.
Pascal deserves it because he beat both of them.
Right.
Shout out to Pascal for being one of the guys that had a great return because after the Kovalev fight, we didn't know what was going to happen with
Does a matchup Benavidez Badu Jack? Would a guy like Benavidez retire Badu Jack?
Yeah, he'll knock him out.
Knock him out? What do you think, Mello?
Ooh. You know what? I really like watching Benavidez fight. He got fast hands and he's relentless. So, I don't know, but Badu Jack is tough too. He had that big gash on his forehead. That guy's a warrior as well. So that.
Badu Jack, see the thing about it, Badu Jack to me, you got for a guy that's so big like Benavidez, you got to have better mobility in that. You have to have better footwork to deal with a guy like Benavidez. You can't sit there like Badu Jack does, come forward and try to counterpunch because Benavidez is good on the inside. He got good long range punches and he got hand speed that's gonna. The thing about it, he's going to make that 37-year-old come out. And Badu Jack has to have different layers.
Yeah,
he's got to move his head more.
He's going to take too much damage.
Guys, I'm going to get to last weekend.
Yes, sir.
The co-main event, not co-main event, on the card we had Jake Paul knock out Nate Robinson.
Jake Paul. Oh man. I'm gonna say about this. We playing basketball or we boxing? Jake Paul fight somebody that knows how to fight. I'm on social media. Fight someone that can box on social media. Don't take a guy 5'9" that belongs at welterweight. You're a light heavyweight. You knocked out a guy that couldn't box. Okay, we have a call.
We got a call. Antonio Baez for AB Box News. I'm with Dez and Mello. Who's speaking?
The champ.
Oh, there it is.
The champ. Thanks, brother, for calling in.
Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ.
Look at him, y'all. Yo, thank you for calling.
Right.
We got the champ. We got the champ.
So, champ, how's everything?
Everything's really good, champ. How you doing, brother? How's everything?
Everything is good. I'm very appreciative of you calling in.
Oh, man, thank you, man.
No, no problem.
Yeah, man. I'm happy you answered me today.
Yeah, you too, champ. You too, you the man.
Thank you. So, how did you feel about the fights this weekend?
Oh, man, it was great, man. It was amazing. It was such a amazing thing to witness Mike Tyson return after 15 years and go to the ring. It was just amazing, champ. I'm still smiling that it happened. I'm just happy that I got to witness.
I wanted to see the battle of the Brownsville Beasts. I wanted to see you and Tyson in there. You think that might be set up in the future?
We hoping on the champ. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be the biggest thing, the pinnacle of my life. The only thing is now surviving it. If the fight can happen, I think it'd be a huge fight. Excuse me. I think it'd be a huge fight, and that the world would love it because unlike Roy Jones, I'm a talker, so I'm gonna talk it out, and I'm gonna promote. I'm gonna really push to make it get 100, 200 million, pay-per-views.
Yeah, you're definitely the modern day Clubber Lang. So I know the fight will sell.
Champ,
Yeah, definitely.
Champ, people are asking your thoughts about Snoop Dogg launching the Fight Club.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So Snoop Dogg is launching his own, let's say it's called the Fight Club. Did you hear about that? Any reaction towards that?
I haven't heard about that. I'm curious to see how that's going. That'd be dope. I'm looking forward to it.
As you've seen the fight, I mean, let's get to the card. Obviously, everybody's talking about Jake Paul knocking out Nate Robinson. And, that's where social media has its good and its bad. What was your reaction when you saw the fight and the knockout?
I felt bad for Nate because Nate just started doing this, to get ready for a fight. Jake is obviously, better than him, and he wound up hitting him, and luckily he's okay, and we can move on. But it was hard to see, man. It was bad.
Definitely, I'm glad to hear that Nate's doing good and he's in good spirit. As far as the main event, I got to ask you, in your opinion, I know it was declared a draw. How did you see the fight?
Yeah, draw was great, man. I thought it was great. I mean,
Okay.
I thought it was great that it was a draw. They both went, 8 rounds. It was great, man. It was just an honor. It was great to see.
Champ, it's fight week. We got Errol Spence and Danny Garcia Saturday. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that one?
Ooh, that's crazy. That's what they're talking about, man. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's gonna be a big one, man. I think this might be fight of the year for sure.
Nice. That's what I think too. I think we're gonna see a bang come Saturday night.
Yeah.
Fox Sports, BBC pay-per-view.
I think they might start off, respecting each other, and then looking, not hurting, just to warm each other, feel each other out. But sooner or later, they're gonna start banging. And I think that it's better for a shootout for a lot of reasons for Garcia, especially we all know Spencer's in an accident. I don't know, man. It's a tough fight, man. I don't know who's gonna win it, but it's gonna be a tough one. I like both guys a lot.
Hey, Champ, this is the Nose Hunter, the urban legend.
Say that again?
This is the Nose Hunter.
Ooh, the Nose Hunter. What up, Champ? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Seeing you through the years and you being a 2-time world champion, and we just talked about that, Jake Paul fight, and Jake Paul fighting, of course, a basketball player. I just want to know, like, you being one of the most ducked heavyweights, probably, how do you feel about the guys not really putting on, like, fighting guys at weight class? For instance, like when you wanted to fight with Klitschko, and I felt like they didn't want to give it to you, even though he was there. How would you feel about, those type of politics going on in boxing?
It's horrible, but at the same time, it's been happening for many years. Guys get ducked all the time, so I can't really, guys get ducked, and I got ducked for good reasons. Listen, man, when I was coming up, there was guys that you just kept the young fighters away from, and as I got older, there was just guys that it wasn't no money in the fighting them. You didn't fight them, it wasn't worth it. So I think that it's nothing new, but in the modern era, I was done heavily, especially by Klitschko, David Hayes, and a few other guys, but I was done heavily with Klitschko from early on. So it was, styles make fight. Some guys I wouldn't fight, and I guess some guys avoided me because I was dangerous, and I got, the crazy thing is I got more dangerous as I got older than when I was younger. When I was younger, I really just partied a lot, and I was flashy, but I was really more of a businessman, which I still am. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I use boxing platform, but I just happened to be good at it. It saved my life, to be honest with you. I was homeless as a teenager, and then I got into boxing, and it luckily got me off the street. But, I got avoided, but it's all good. I think now Mike Tyson coming back, it opened up a lot of people to fighting. Even Jake Paul being in boxing is bringing a lot of attention to people who would never been in boxing. I've said that from the beginning. So when I trained Jake and I trained Logan Paul, I seen that this was a great thing for boxing. So to reach new kids, new audiences. So I think that we are at a place that more people watching boxing than most recently, and it's gonna hopefully grow. But as far as me, I'm still here now with Mike Tyson being back, and if he want to do it and he want to show the world, just a nice show, great exhibition. That's what I'm here for. I think it ain't really about me, fight killing each other. I think it's about just what happened with Gordon. But I gotta be careful because this is Mike Tyson we talk about. He might get crazy. He might go crazy. If he go crazy, I might go crazy. And then you got two people going crazy in the ring, and that's what the people want. They really want to see. Let's be honest. They want to see people going all out to the death, willing to die in this ring. That's what y'all really want to see. But it's best we don't go that way. It's best we just have a nice exhibition. But again, he might go crazy. So let's go, Jam.
Competitive natures bleed
the
through.
Battle of Brownsville, and guys like you, Shannon, is motivate guys like me. I would love to fight Jake Paul. And I saw him speaking about McGregor, and I'm like, wait, he said he's tall and he's got long reach. I said, well, we're both 6'1". I call myself the nose hunter for a reason, for being in different gyms. You definitely set that old school mentality of anybody fight anybody. You go and, knock the door. You've been knocking at the door for very long. I would love to see you and Mike Tyson, the Battle of Brownsville, and I'm going for the champ.
Ooh, let's go, Jam. That's my boy. What's your name again?
My name is Desmond. I talked to you before. Team Warehouse Body Mechanics, the nose hunter. I know OG Kev.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to you when I was at City Island with OG Kev. That was that dude.
Oh yeah, okay, my man. Let's go, John. How you been, brother?
I've been great, man. I've been real great, man. I got to talk to me and Zest always talk very great about you, man.
Hey, Champ.
Man, especially because my sister, you also, OG Kev is my man. You get me?
Nice. Champ, I got a question for you about this last weekend. We had Joy Joyce's performance, his stoppage against Dubois. Is Joyce a real threat to AJ and Tyson Fury?
Yes, he is. I've been saying it again. Another thing I've been saying for years. This guy is dangerous. I seen him when he was younger, and I said this guy is strong. He's not regularly strong. He's super strong. And let me tell you something. In that fight with Joyce, he looked good. Let me tell you why he looked good. His defense, he was moving his head. I told him many times I've seen him, guys. I would see him, I say, hey, yo, you can fight, you super strong. The reason why I say he's super strong, because I seen him do a flip. And this time, I've never seen a human being that can control their core that strong. That means that this is not an average strength man. This is what I'm trying to explain to y'all. I've been telling this for years. This man is not averagely strong. He's super strong. He's the next generation of strength. He could do a flip and jump around like that. That means he can control his body weight at that size. I told him 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, he's about 6'6".
Yeah, he's 6'7", 6'7".
6'7", yeah.
Huge. Control his body weight to do a flip like that. That's unbelievable. So he's gonna go a long way, but what he lacks is defense. He lacks defense. He's not fast. He's not fast, which is okay because his strength would make up for that. But his defense was poor. His defense is getting better. You see his trade. Now, Joy Dubois, he's a textbook guy. He doesn't do nothing different. He just, he's like you teach him how to box, jab, right hand, left hook.
It's too
He's not
upright.
a scrapper. He's not like Wilder. Wilder is a scrapper. He just throws shit and let whatever hit. He know he can hit, so he throw it.
I would have loved to see you fight Deontay Wilder.
The voice is a tank. I'm sorry?
I would have loved for you to fight Deontay Wilder too. Like you would have him so off balance.
Yeah, I had him. I was in the tank. I thought I beat him up twice.
He would have thrown that left hook up,
I
then
never
the
beat
left
him
hook
up
to the
twice.
body.
But listen, the boy textbook, but he can fight. He can fight though. But this boy, Joyce, he's different, y'all. I'm telling you, he's strong, and now he learns his defense. If he gets his defense right, even if he learns how to catch punches with his hands, slip his head like he's been doing now, and just using his jerky movement, man, he gonna go a long way. I'm telling you, he's difficult. Now, he's gonna be difficult. Again, Tyson Fury, he's big. How many times a year he gonna fight? So that's what we gotta see. We gotta see. And now I know COVID active. We're gonna see how active these fighters are. That's what's real important right now, I think. And that's what I'm doing. I'm coming out with a boxing promotion company, Let's Go Champ Promotion. We're going to be active. We're going to be doing 3-4 shows a month, every month, keeping the fighters going.
Dope.
Nice. Fight fans, you hear that? Look out for Let's Go Champ Promotions. They're going to be bringing big fights soon. Champ, in your career, what would you say is your most memorable fight?
Sheesh, my last fight in England was memorable because it was the last one. I can remember that one. No, I had some good ones, man. I had some interesting nights, man. Fighting George Foreman. I was 25 years old. My mom had just died. I was going through that. That was a big night for me. I've had some, fighting Lewis, although I didn't win. That was just a big night for me because I went into the fight with a broken hand. And I heard he's coming back too, so that's a fight that, if he's ready, I'm ready.
I got that autographed photo with you and Foreman, man. I got that up in my house.
Let's go, champ.
So champ, I gotta ask you. This year's been a tough year with boxing, but it looks like boxing's in the right direction. And what was your thoughts, your reaction when you seen a guy like Teofimo Lopez defeat Lomachenko? Is he getting the credibility that he deserves, or you think there's still more to come and more to prove?
No, he did his thing. I've been knowing Gordo since he was a little kid, 8 years old. He grew up with my son. He grew up coming to my house, and I watched him from the beginning of his boxing career to now, to where he is now. Nah, Gordo can fight. You know what I'm saying? He's impressive. He's gotten even better than he was, as you should. But he turned pro. I guess being in Vegas, being around boxing, I don't know. I think he moved to. He's a beast, man. I'm impressed with him and what he's doing. And he became a champion by knocking off on this guy. So with that being said, now I'm looking forward to his future. Now let's see what happens next. Now let's keep the ball rolling. Let's see these guys fight big fights and keep making it.
Champ, do you still consider Canelo Alvarez the face of boxing as many think?
Face of boxing. Yeah, I guess if you want to tell him that. But I think that division right now with Crawford and those guys, Errol Spence, you got Javante Davis, you got Telefield, you got all these big guys. I like that. I like that with that small weight division. What's that? Welterweight or super welterweight? What is it?
Right.
So we still got this, the Fury Wilder rematch up in the air. But when that goes down, who do you got on that one?
I don't know, man. I like the way Fury handled his business last time. I think Wilder needs to get back active. What he had going for himself is the fact that he was active. You know what I'm saying? He was active. He was an active guy. And he was an active champion. And although he was, he lacked the defense, he had the power. And a guy like that, the power is lasting to go, but you know, he's a different frame built guy. However, we don't know what that frame is going to give out on him. We don't know. You know, we don't know. A lot to tell. A lot to be said about Wilder, man. Wilder's an impressive kid, man. Yeah, impressive man because he was able to, you know, climb the charts fast, knocking everybody out. You know, and although I got at him, I said, "Things, I just be messing around with him." Honestly, I'm impressed with what he did. But you know, I wanted to fight him, and I still will fight him if they give me a shot. But I'm not really looking for a shot like that because I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? For a long time, I was chasing a shot to, you know, financially feed my family, but you know, it wasn't working, and I had to look for other alternatives and ways. So, as a businessman, entrepreneur, I got to, you know, I went back to threw that hat on. I put my entrepreneur hat on, and here I am today. I'm doing okay. I'm still getting in shape. If Mike Tyson or somebody wants to have an exhibition, I'm for that. But as far as hard fights and all that, and I'm not really. I'm kind of past those days because although I'm willing, I don't think that again that if I got in tip-top shape, that they give me a shot. You know, I think that you find a way to avoid it.
You know who I would love to see you fight, and I think it could possibly happen. Hopefully, if the promoters, you know, act right. I would love to see you fight Luis Ortiz. You know, at heavyweight.
Yeah,
I would love to see you fight King Kong.
But you know, again, you know, why do I get in shape for something like that? For what? To make what? To make a couple dollars? Nah, it's not worth it for me. First of all, I'm not going to do it because I'm not in that same position as I was as a kid, or let alone as even young years ago when I was financially in need for boxing. They avoided me. So now I had to put myself through a lot of pain and training to do it. So for me now at 40, tomorrow's my birthday, by the way. I'll be 49.
Oh, happy
birthday,
Happy
champ.
birthday.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you, brothers. For me, to train that hard and do all that, like, I'd have to see a fact that I'm getting a guaranteed big fight. And do I need a big fight now? Right now, not really. I'm financially well off. I've made more money in the last few years than I've ever made in boxing my whole entire career.
Wow.
So, yeah, I can't see myself. You know, I'm doing it now because Mike Tyson's back, and I might just want to continue. Now, listen, let me just say this. Let me back step. I apologize. I truly apologize. Let me say this again. I do plan on fighting with or without Mike Tyson. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it one step at a time. I'm going to fight a pot every month. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get a pot every month.
We're not bad at you. Joe Louis did it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a pot a month, and I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna keep training for a year. After a year, we get 12 pies. Then if I feel I'm going for the title against Josh or anybody. I'll be 50 years old next year. I'm 49 tomorrow. I'll be 50,000. I'll be 49,000 tomorrow, and 50,000 in a year.
Okay.
So by the time I turn 50,000, I would have knocked out hopefully 10 to 12 pies. By 2022, I should be in enough condition to say, "Yo, I'm ready to pull the trigger. I'm ready to pull the trigger and go for a title." I'm saying this first time here on your show,
Okay.
Mello.
Yeah.
On your show, I'm telling you right now, this is how it's going down. I'm gonna get myself ready. I'm gonna knock off a power month, and then after I knock off one spot, I'm gonna see if you know where I want to go, if I want to go for a title shot.
All right, we're gonna be there front row seats every
I
fight.
definitely will,
Every
'cause
fight.
when you fought George Foreman, like, people don't understand, like, it's a different, and your experience as a two-time world champion, it's different being in front of a guy like George Foreman. People just see George Foreman, oh, you know, he's not that quick, everything, but that power is different.
Yeah. George Foreman was still a beast when he came back.
I understand that.
Champ. So I know COVID slowed down boxing a lot this year, and now it's been picking up. You know, this month, last month, we got a lot of big fights coming up. Is there any dream matchup for 2021 that you see or you would want to see set up for 2021?
I'd love to see. The fight I really want to see is happening this weekend. To be honest with you, I was playing Shannon Briggs.
Nice.
I love.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's definitely good for boxing, this fight.
Yeah, I love to see. To be honest with you, will be a big fight for boxing, and they're not gonna let it happen. Is Davis and Gordo, Telefino. That's a big fight.
Yeah, definitely. That's and that fight can end in a knockout either way.
Yeah, that's a big fight. That's a big fight. That's a big. That's your. Honestly, it's weird to say, but it's kind of like your Duran versus Aaron Pryor.
I agree. Definitely, I agree. But I'm gonna always go for
A young
Brooklyn.
Duran, a very young Duran against Aaron Pryor. That's my fight. That's how I see that fight.
I do agree with that because like I said, I'm always going to be for Brooklyn because I'm from Queens, so I'm always for New York City. So I'm going with Lopez, even though I'm a Javante fan as well.
That fight would be sparks, man. Crazy power, athleticism on both sides.
It's a pit bull fight.
Definitely.
Champ, did you happen to catch last weekend's fight with Jacobs and Rosado?
Yeah.
What did you think about that controversial call at the end?
I mean, it was a draw.
They gave it to Jacobs, but the ring announcer kind of said from Philly.
Yeah,
so
then he
there was
switched
a
to
mix-up.
Brooklyn, and then so Rosado thought he won, but he didn't. He lost the split decision.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, but I know the should have been draw.
Draw, okay, that's fair. A lot of people thought.
I wouldn't be mad with a draw.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at a draw. A lot of people thought Rosado pulled it off, but I guess
I called it the draw.
called it a draw. That's pretty fair to say.
Yeah, they didn't throw enough punches. They did not throw enough punches for it to really be, clear who won.
Yeah, they both suck. That's why I called it a draw.
Wow.
Oh man.
Champion.
But I love both of them guys. I did, but they styles make fights. I love both of those kids. Seriously, but styles make fights. So they style don't match for a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Because Jacobs is better at trying to put pressure on him. You know what I'm saying? And this kid is better when he can come and go to war and put pressure on you. So it was weird. So I've been in fights like that. Sometimes I hated fighting because I always took myself as first as a boxer, and I can learn. I learned how to go forward, but I was always first a boxer. So it was guys that I boxed coming up that spanked me because they was boxers, and I had got away from boxing and was more working on my aggressive style. When I was training with Teddy Atlas, he had me more consider Tyson style. Custom model style. And then before that I was on a boxing move. I thought I was Muhammad Ali, you know what I'm saying? So the style mixtures was good because I learned how to box, and I learned how to box naturally, and then I learned to how to be flat footed. But I think the best I consider myself a boxer puncher. So
I also like what you
styles
said.
styles make fights, so that fight to me, those styles didn't match up, and that's why I didn't what it was. But I thought it was a draw at least.
And Champ, you represent very well in kickboxing as a boxer because that knockout is still epic with that leg kick. I knocked the dude out with a check hook in the gym, and I was like, wow, Briggs did that, knocked the dude straight out.
Yeah, that was a nice. They kicked the shit out of me.
Briggs, you still selling the merchandise, right? I know I got my Let's Go Champ hoodie. I know you got the hats. I saw you was coming out with sneakers soon too. So how's that going for you right now?
It's going really good, man. Thank you, man. You can check out my website and order merch at shannonbriggs.com. And it's going well. I also have a clinic called Alpha DNA. You can join the website, which is joinalphadna.com. There's JOIN, Alpha, ALPHA, DNA, all together. Joinalphadna.com. And check out my online pharmacy and health club. And I got a clinic as well, open up in 3 weeks. So, I'm a serial entrepreneur, man. I'm always hustling and working and trying to do things to secure and, provide for my future.
Definitely. Champ, we want to thank you for calling in. We appreciate it, dropping your knowledge on us. And anytime, feel free to call back. Let's go, Champ. And
give the trick. So, Champ, thank you for having me on, guys.
Let everybody know where they can follow you at. If you do not follow the Champ, you are missing out. This guy posts the funniest things. He's always posting material. He's always going live.
Yes,
You
sir.
need to follow the champ. Tell
For
him
the
where to
people.
follow you at.
Oh man, thank you, Champ. You the best. You can follow me at Shannon _Briggs BRIGGS. Shannon _Briggs on Instagram. You can catch me on Facebook at Shannon Briggs, and also on Twitter as The Shannon Briggs, I believe it is. And I'm on TikTok now as well. So my
Oh
TikTok
man,
is-
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Thanks again, champ. Thanks again for calling in.
Thank you guys for having me. Have a great evening, man. Let's go, Champ.
Let's go, champ.
There we have it. Take care. Want to thank the champ, Shannon Briggs, for calling in. Everybody, wish him a happy birthday tomorrow as he turns young 49, and check out his merchandise. You know,
Yeah,
Mello,
I got a Let's Go Champ hoodie. I got a Scully. I got
Nice.
my merchandise.
Right, so we got to support him, and he looks forward to this Saturday's fight. You know, the big pay-per-view, Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. But let me break down the undercard. In the co-main event, we have Sebastian Fundora versus Habib Ahmad, 12 rounds for a WBC junior middleweight eliminator, guys. So I actually look forward to seeing this and what's next for these guys. So hopefully, I'm leaning a little towards Sebastian to pull it off. But there's another fight that it's under the radar. I'm looking forward to seeing the return of Josito Lopez.
Josecito Lopez. Yeah.
Yes,
he's good.
yes. And he's fighting Francisco Santana, 10 rounds in the welterweight showdown. So I look forward to seeing Josito. Ever since he's been training with Robert Garcia, I've seen a different fighter, a different person. He just seems more like re-energized, Mello. And those
I like Robert Garcia as a trainer. I like that stable they have over there. They got good fighters. You know, Robert Garcia was a good fighter. You know, he's very, he got good technique and everything. So, I hope that duo goes well, that team goes well for him.
Right. And since he's been with Robert Garcia, his only defeat was against Keith One-Time Thurman, which he definitely had his moment.
You can't take that away from him. That guy, Keith, before he got the injuries, was on top.
That guy, he was that guy at
He was
147.
that guy one time.
Right, so I look forward to that card. Also on that card fighting is Fernando Garcia versus Juan Tapia in an 8-round featherweight battle. Also Frey Martin versus Tyrone Lucky in an 8-round lightweight title. So that concludes the card for Fox Sports PBC, Errol Spence, The Truth versus Danny Garcia, Swift. And guys, I gotta ask before we go, who you guys leaning towards come fight night?
The Puerto Rican in me wants to say Danny Garcia. Errol Spence is strong. He could walk him down, but Danny likes to be in a dogfight, and nobody's knocked Danny out. He got a chin. So Errol Spence got his, he got a lot of work to do that night if he wants to get that win.
So you're leaning towards Errol?
I'm leaning towards Danny.
Danny, okay. Puerto Rico standing up. Nose Hunter, who do you got?
I'm going for Texas. I got it going for 115-113 Errol Spence.
Close fight.
UD, I say it's going to be a UD. It's not going to be it's going to be exciting, but nobody's going to get knocked out. Spence is going to inch out. He's going to do the small things a little bit more. He's going to move his legs more.
Okay. I see this fight going Errol Spence's way. But if Danny's victorious, it's by knockout.
Agreed.
So I see it 116-112 Errol Spence.
Yes.
But if Danny Garcia wins, it'll be a 5th round knockout.
Agreed.
5th round knockout.
That's my number.
It can happen.
It could happen. I think Danny has the power to do it, and if Danny wins this fight, he's back on the map as far as being the elite at 147. And people got to give him his credit that, you know what, Errol says he's fine from his accident. Let's give him his props.
Agreed.
Agreed. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude another episode of Bars and Hoops Radio presents AB Boxing News Podcast Show, I want to thank, of course, the champ, Shannon Briggs, for calling in, dropping his knowledge, giving us his thoughts about this weekend's fight and last weekend's fight with Joey Joyce and Errol Spence, Danny Garcia showdown. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in, Bars and Hoops Radio, for having us. And Mello, before we let you go, last words?
I'm just excited for Saturday. This is going to be, the fans win this fight no matter what.
Agreed. The fans definitely win this fight. Stay tuned. Boxing's back. It never left.
There it is. Stay tuned. Final words from me. The welterweight showdown of the year this Saturday, Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view, Spence versus Garcia. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.